And today's episode of Dr. Drew After Dark is brought to us by our friends at Upstart, Stitch Fix, and Daily Harvest. But I'll have more on that soon. For now, let's get to the show. Hi, I'm Dr. Drew, and this is Dr. Drew After Dark. Please be advised that Dr. Drew After Dark may contain sexually oriented content and be unsuitable for young children. And welcome to another Dr. Drew After Dark. I can't believe I'm here again. I'm here for you mommies, bottom line. I am here for the mommies. And I always come into every show with a certain amount of anxiety. There's never a show that I start without anxiety. Not about being in front of a camera, but of whatever the hell you guys are going to subject me to. So we will see. And remind you, drdrewafterdark@gmail.com, drdrewafterdark is where you can email me all the effed up questions you have. And you can send us your voice messages at 818-253-1693. And one day we will have call-ins. But right now we're relying on you for the voice messages. Speaking of fucked up, Adam Ray, welcome to the program. So,
maybe the best intro I've ever received. Speaking of fucked up.
How long have we known each other? Like 15, 20 years? It's been a while.
Dude, yeah. You were at my circumcision, and I remember it was weird because you weren't performing it, but you were like, I just like to watch. And
it was just, you had it when you were 28. It was kind of a weird thing.
I was late to the game. I didn't know that was like a thing that, that you could do. Or that girls were into. Yeah.
They're into the actual circumcision?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, not the after effects of what the penis looks like. They just like to see a man get chopped.
I think these days there's a little more energy around that. I bet that there's probably a whole series of sort of videos that you could, or like
there's got to
fan pages of
circumcision. Yeah. Or guys getting. I mean, look, let's be honest. I think we just missed the 25-year anniversary of the Lorena Bobbitt snip snap.
Did you see the video, the documentary about it?
Oh God, I thought you were about to say the actual video.
No,
when she took it off.
Well, but the doctor's there and the surgeries are there, and then his penis enlargement many years later. It's crazy.
I would love to see the video of when she tossed it into the yard.
I feel like
I'm like not fully looking at a penis, but I'm seeing what it would look like if it's being thrown.
They show it. They show a picture of it after it's been dismembered.
Where did she chop it from?
What, the base?
The base, yeah.
Yeah, just whew. And then they show the feel. I feel like I've seen the whole thing because you have to see this documentary. It's called Lorena. It's really good.
Well, I haven't even seen Game of Thrones yet, so I need to go down that.
They talk to the sheriffs that found it. They're like, I stepped. Oh, he's
having flashbacks. Yeah. He's having penile flashbacks.
Here, this is it. Penis. This is it.
Yeah. I wonder what that call was like too, where they're just like,
they go through the whole thing. They go through every piece of it. Believe me.
By the way, at what point in the relationship is that like plan B or E, or was she just like, look, if I get pushed to the brink, I'm chopping your dick off?
You find out.
Did she put that in a text or a card?
No, you find out it was bad. There was stuff going on.
Yeah.
Bad.
This
was a last-ditch effort in a weird, screwed-up dissociative
because
state.
I'm wondering if there was any sort of therapy that preceded the chop to where she was like, look, some nights I just want to cut his cock off. Yeah. And he's like, she says that a lot. I don't believe her.
It gets even weirder because he starts stalking her later in life to try to get back together in some weird delusional thing. And she's like, I cut his effing penis off.
Yeah.
Why does he think I'd want to get back together with him?
Yeah.
Very bizarre. It's very bizarre.
By the way, that is the most delusional dude.
You have to watch this documentary series. I'm telling you.
I've been there as a dude.
Very good.
Where I broke up with, actually she broke up with me. It was a girl I was dating in Seattle. We were doing long distance. It was, I think, doomed from the start. But, I've done distance a few times. I think love gets you through a year and a half at most. And then someone's got to compromise and make the move. But I could feel us like going down that path of where it wasn't going to work. And then, man, I was so, and it made sense, but I was so ripped up afterwards.
You were stalking.
I wasn't stalking, but she definitely, I remember at one point she was like, if we're both going to move on, you got to stop like reaching out to me. Right. And it wasn't like abrasive. It was just like checking in stuff, but it was like, I missed her. And then,
dude.
And the one text of her saying, you got to stop made me go, oh, I'm that guy. And that felt terrible.
There's a name for that.
John Bobbitt.
It's called stalking.
John Bobbitt's
sister. It's called stalking behavior.
But
a lot of guys do it these days, especially. But it's very common. No one thinks about it that way. But when
I wasn't standing outside of her bedroom window with a picture.
When she goes, get out of here, and you don't,
You're a stalker.
You're a stalker.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that's stalking.
I've been a stalker.
It can be a very mild, very limited. I mean, you could be driving by the house.
There's levels of stalking.
Yeah, they could be checking the stuff on electronic media. And by the way, we have for our first email question, which is how long can... Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's from the screwballs in the control room.
Oh, great.
How long can a dick be chopped before it can be reattached? I think I know exactly who back there is asking that question.
So what's in the right questions here, Drew?
So how long can your
hard-hitting questions, I know that. The answer...
Katie Couric wouldn't ask this question.
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to guess...
Let's both guess.
I'm going to guess on the order of 6-ish hours if it's on.
So this is how long the body can survive without having a place to pee.
Yeah. No. How long the penis can survive before you can reattach it.
Oh, because the body can go without a dick, no problem.
No problem. That's what they were going to do to him. They were going to just sort of just make him a little perineal hole. And
what were you just doing there? What is
they
that?
Just flap. They create a flap.
I was going to say, do you know? I don't think I would want you performing this on me. You were like, they tie it into an animal balloon.
A perineal it's a musculocutaneous flap.
Okay.
They just cover everything up.
They just make it a
hole.
Oh my God!
Wouldn't that be great?
For who?
I know, it'd be terrible.
Wait, so you can still pee out of it?
Yes.
Wait, so when the dick gets chopped off, and by the way, if some of you right now are listening, being like, "Hey, are they going to move on to other topics?" We don't know yet.
No,
so strap
probably
in.
not.
Probably not. This is fascinating shit.
Yeah.
If can you? So you'll still be able to pee out of the hole.
Yes.
But there's no sexual penetration happening.
No. What's going to penetrate? I mean, a urine stream.
Somewhere there's some like 15-year-old boy being like, "Hey, I could still do it," you know?
No, because it was chopped clean off.
Oh man! So at that point, do you also look in the mirror and go, "Well, maybe I wasn't supposed to have one anyway. Maybe this is my
whether you're not supposed to
sign."
have one or not, you ain't got one. There is a way. There's a guy named Dr. Alter. Strangely enough, that's his name.
Yeah.
Who can rebuild a penis out of forearm tissue.
Wow.
He can make it sort of functional.
Because the forearm's got some girthy...
It's just muscle and just
the forearm is the most, penis type.
Penis-like, I guess.
Penis-like, yeah. Like, look, even just doing that,
you can draw the penis just right about the right dimensions on the...
By the way, of
course,
course it's a male doctor that, like, probably saw some Avengers movie and he was like, "Did you see Iron Man? He looked like a cock when he was putting his arm..." Like, only dudes think that things look like... Actually, that's not true. There's a lot of girls that when they're like
they see the phallus, but we see the action.
Isn't
that
Please
funny?
make that T-shirt and put it on your website.
Oh, we have T-shirts.
We see they see the phallus. We see the action.
So before the mics
heated
heated
up, 6 hours. I'm sorry.
Before the mics heated up, you started asking me a question, and we just got in the way of it. It was, do you ever? We were talking about Loveline.
Which, by the way, God, how many times do people just give it up for you in that show?
They miss it. That's sort of why we invented this kind of thing.
Yeah, this is definitely doing the trick. But
sort of. It's kind of a version of it.
Legendary. How often do you ever just think back to those days and those times? I mean, was it chaotic?
It was just a part of my life. It's weird. I don't think about it that way. I think of the TV show that way. I think back to some of the stuff in the TV show.
Yeah.
Because that was sort of a weird adventure.
Right.
And I'd never done television before. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. You transitioned smoothly. You did.
To radio and TV.
Yeah.
Well, Adam and I both. Well, we didn't know what we were doing.
Right.
We would do 6 shows a day.
Fuck.
It's crazy.
But like, are there certain stories that stick out to you that you ever think, or do people reach out years later and go, "I called to ask you about this"?
Yes.
Wow.
But it was the do you ever think back? Is that what you were going to ask me? So, there are moments, there are sentinel moments like when Fletcher vomited on me.
Yeah.
And then he came back about 5 or 6 years later and then threatened to take us to Poo Poo City.
Sure.
Of course.
You'd never been. He was just trying to be a good host.
As the custom. You have to look into Loveline lore. And just occasionally the vignettes come to my mind, the time that Maxi Priest freaked out on me because I was at the same time, I had Maxi Priest and Shaggy in the studio at the time, and I'm a big Shaggy fan.
Yeah.
Well, how dare I?
How dare you?
He freaked out.
Yeah.
And left the studio. So
it's just I think we're all guilty of this, of doing. I feel like those of us that go out of our way to keep ourselves busy and find new projects and be creative in different ways. Yes. It's so easy to just be looking forward and not take a minute to go. Not even reflect, but just appreciate.
Listen, because I practiced medicine for 30 years. Everything I do, not practicing medicine, to me is like this magical adventure. Like, whoa, how did this happen?
For sure.
Weird. Your dad was a doctor.
My dad was a cardiovascular surgeon, did a lot of open heart surgeries, always tried to get me to come watch. I mean, I was definitely intrigued by the medical.
Did he want you to go into medicine?
He wanted me to perform the surgeries. He was like, dude, I'm tired. I'm a little hungover. I'm a little bipolar. Do you want to take over?
He'd put your hand in the field. No problem. Just put your thumb on something.
Yeah. He was like, if you can just make... you don't
understand. That's what medical students do. They just hold this, put your hand here.
For real?
Oh, yeah.
I guess how else are you going to learn, right?
Not even learning. They just need the hands.
He would tell me some of the hours that he would do on these open heart surgeries. Mind blowing. To have the focus and like, no wonder they would.
And by the way, I didn't like it because you'd be wearing the light. Your glass would be sliding. Your back would hurt.
He had amazing hand-eye coordination and just
not my thing.
Yeah, I mean, so now he's just working at a VA clinic in Salem, Oregon, still crushing it. Doing a lot of great stuff with veterans.
So how did comedy come around?
Oh man, comedy. I always had, I think, the funny gene in me. I think when I realized you can be funny around your friends. I didn't really do it around my family too much. I wasn't that kid that was like...
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got a sister who is a couple years older, and then now I've got a couple half-brothers, a couple stepbrothers, stepsister, the full Brady bunch.
So did that happen when you were growing up?
Yeah, folks split when I was 9, and thanks for bringing it up. And we... they're still not. Spoiler alert. They're still separated. They took us to Disneyland for a save the marriage trip when we were 6, and the teacups aren't that, I guess, romantic. But crazy story though. I went to Disneyland with them when I was 6. Got lost at 6. It's a traumatic event at 6 to still remember that, and getting lost and that feeling of not knowing where I was and hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah. And Winnie the Pooh found me. Saw me lost and
and just you take me to that moment. Was like a horrifying Winnie the Pooh monster coming after you? Or was it reassuring?
Winnie the Pooh, I think, had been ingrained in me that he was a pretty casual, chill character.
Good.
If it was Tigger, I'd have been like, dude, back off, take a Xanax, and get the fuck out of my face. You're coming in at so
you got
80.
Lost. How interesting that you got lost on the marriage trip.
Yeah. By the way,
very interesting.
Oh my God, should I lay down on the couch?
You have to lie down.
But he took me to the Lost and Found station and found my folks, and they were just sobbing. And anyway, I do this now in my act because...
Now, hold on. Did the parents, were they blaming each other, or were they unified in their...
I remember my mom being just real distraught, and my dad kind of, also being distraught, but you could tell they were definitely fighting. Like it was... Whose
both, fault was it?
Yeah, for sure. So that didn't bode well. So maybe it was my fault, you want to think that the kid didn't have anything to do with it, but maybe my dad was like, I swear to God, if one of the kids gets lost, that's the last straw. And it was Winnie the Pooh. That's not even the best character that found him, but so 30 years later, last time I have done a pot edible, weed brownie, I went to Disneyland, got lost again from my friends.
How old were you?
Oh, this was 28, 29.
Are you really lost from your friends at that point?
Oh, yeah. Doc, when you are freaking out so bad on edibles and like you're having panic attacks on the Alice in Wonderland ride, and then you realize you're not even on the Alice in Wonderland ride, you're just getting a frozen banana, and my buddies, we just gotten separated, and I was having... too many edibles gives you an anxiety and paranoia level that you can't, it's uncharted. And my heart felt like it was going to pop out of my chest.
Yep.
And I'm looking for somebody in the medical world at Disneyland, which they're not, frequenting the park too much. And I swear to God, I see Pooh again, right? And I had this weird extra high, flashback of when I got lost. It was like outer body. And I was like, something very calming came over me to where I was like, he helped me, 20 years ago. Why would he bail on me now? And so I go up to him and I went real close and I was like, yo man, you got to help me out. I had 3 pop brownies. I'm freaking the fuck out. I think my heart's going to pop out of my chest. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you point me in the direction of the first aid station or some sort of medical establishment? And he did not want to break the character code of conduct and just looked at me and threw his arms up and he was like, and then I got real angry. I went from 0 to 60 in a pop brownie heartbeat. I was just like, dude, break the fucking fourth wall. I go, I know you're just a guy in there. I used to play Wolverine at Universal Studios, which by the way, that should definitely not be the only reason I know he's not the real Winnie the Pooh.
Right, yes.
But I was like, I used to do this shit. I know you're probably just Max from Detroit. Fucking point me in the direction of some help. and he kind of whispered something through the mask, and I couldn't hear it, and then he just walked away. And then at that point, I turned around, I see parents and kids were looking at me, because I was animated. And I'm sure some kids were probably like, is he asking them where the Magic Mountain is? But no, I mean, it looked like a full-on. And then I tried to act all cool. You know, like when sometimes you're drunk and you trip down some stairs, and you try to turn it into a dance just to be like, no, I'm good. So people were looking at me, and I remember this one guy was like, are you okay? I was like, are you okay? I was like, all right, dude, I need to get out of here and go to Legoland or something. Yeah. But that, anyway.
So that Wolverine, that was a career maker.
Oh, dude, that was, what do you come to LA for? You know, to do the roles that Hugh Jackman passed on.
So
I met so many celebs in that Wolverine suit. Michael Jackson came through the park one time, didn't meet him, screamed at him. In Wolverine attire, and
you had to do you had to do a show too, right? As Wolverine or something? Did you tell me this?
No, I did so first job was a tour guide on the back lot. I was
you did something in the water world at one point, didn't you?
No, I hosted the Fear Factor live show.
Fear Factor,
yeah. But Wolverine, you just basically you walk around the park.
With
and
knives.
you're eye candy for nerdy children and heavyset Latina women, and you
which you still are, strangely enough.
So funny. The amount, yeah, for sure. That's my demo. It was. My mom was so wonderfully supportive of when they split. It was definitely had a weirder relationship with my dad because it was just. I put on a happy face for all that stuff. My sister is a lot more aware of
split was dad's fault.
For sure. So my stepmom now is
and with the stepmom?
Yeah. And then they ended up having 2 kids and she had 1. And it was weird. And I mean, we moved to a different house, my mom and sister and I. And I remember
she a nurse?
I think so, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, thank you. And so this was she like a scrub nurse? Was she somebody in the OR or was somebody like from the ICU?
I don't
One or the
know.
other.
Yeah. It might have been ICU.
Okay. So
I think she worked
nurse.
closely.
Okay. So she's the ICU nurse.
And you work in those late out. And my folks were married for 20 years. My mom always says 10 were pretty good.
Fuck her, right?
I mean, yeah,
fuck
dude.
your stepmom.
I mean, now
you broke your parents up.
She's got stage 4 cancer now.
So thank you. I feel so much better now.
Yeah. But look, can I say something though? There
Please.
was this weird moment where when she had breast cancer and she got through that, and now she's got this, and it's a
recurrence.
It's a bummer.
Recurrence of breast cancer.
I think so, but now it's what is it metastasized right into the liver? But they just did a check to see if it's spread, and it hasn't. So at least that's a positive sign.
There's a lot to be done now for breast cancer.
For sure. Yeah. There was a moment, and I don't want to, I want to explore this on stage at some point, but. So my mom is just the God's gift to the world, just the sweetest, most upbeat. Even now when I'm like, how do you stay cordial around my stepmom and my dad? And she's like, I'm an adult. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Shit happened. It was awful back in the day, but now I'm remarried and life's good. And what am I gonna do? I'm gonna be nice to everybody now. I'm a big advocate of those things make you who you are. And
age 8, 9 was bad though for split time for kids.
What's that?
Age 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9 is not good for kids to be splitting then. I mean, no good age, but that's pretty rough though.
Well, I was a little oblivious to, I was like, oh, I get to still see him? Okay, cool. And then I just, again, even at that age, I was peer mediating between my sister and mom because they were at each other's necks a lot. But so I just kind of grew up quick. And
you're the peacemaker.
Yeah. And so the funny came from me.
That's the movie of taking everybody to the movies.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think so. The funny came from me wanting to probably distract from all that shit that was going on.
Yeah.
And then I started making friends laugh and prank calling Seattle sports radio stations and prank calling friends. There was this one girl in 4th grade. This was the first time I recognized that I kind of had maybe a skill for this. And there's a girl that a lot of people had a crush on. She was a new girl in school. And she liked one of my buddies, some real skinny athletic kid, and I was a fat kid. And I was like, hey, and I would always make jokes, even 4th grade. I was like, we could buy a bra and share it, And okay, good, still didn't work. And just silence here. And so I would call my buddy as her because I could mimic her voice.
Oh my
and
God.
we'd have 3 or 4 buddies around. And we call and just talk on the phone late night like a kid and kind of diabolical when you look back. But they would just laugh so hard, and I was like, "Oh, that's a fun feeling.
This is good."
Yeah.
And the fat kid, you think that was because of all the distress at home?
Oh, for sure, yeah. And also, I don't know if you've double-fisted Pop-Tarts and dipped them in Cool Whip, but it's I blame Pop-Tarts and Cool Whip for coming together and creating such a wonderful
just
taste.
The idea of fisting, I didn't quite get that.
Okay,
piece.
well, you're focusing on the wrong part.
I guess so. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
And were you depressed at all with that part of the deal?
No, I think it was, being a big kid, you don't know.
When did the fat go away?
Oh man, when my grandpa casually God bless him, rest in peace. He goes, you know, you're not going to be able to wear sweatpants at your bar mitzvah. And I was just like, the fuck did you say? What? And for A, don't tell me how to live my life. B, you know, yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. But so I needed to, you know, get into a suit. And, you know, him and my mom just didn't ever want to, you know, bust my balls for having a weight problem.
This was your mom's dad?
Yeah. And then my mom was like, look, I had issues growing up, so I never wanted to give you shit. She's like, but as soon as I was like, yo, and then when the teasing started happening from like friends, that was kind of the last straw. Because I had a few buddies that never made it an issue. And you need signs from the outside world.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you can make a change. When, you know, when you saw the stuff, you can make a change.
For sure. And I literally was so active, so I just started eating healthy, and I dropped like 40 pounds in a summer. I mean, and boy, when a fat kid goes on a diet in the 6th grade,
everyone notices.
Oh, it spreads like wildfire. Yeah. Like the parents also can't hold back. I remember at the 6th grade party, they had, you know, all the snacks. Everyone's got crazy metabolism. I was not blessed with that. So I've known for, you know, coming in and just crazy lunches and just, you know, being a big kid. And so at the 6th grade party, there were all sorts of pizzas and chips and donuts and everything. And I remember walking in, there were a lot of parent chaperones. And I walked into the area where all the snacks were, everyone's outside. And I walk in and I start looking and I go over and grab a piece of celery. And one of the moms, and I won't say her name, Patty Greenland, but she looked at me, I remember, and was just like, she goes, celery? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, the pizza's right there. I mean, what? Like just basically being like, hey, fatty, you're picking up the wrong snack. And I was like, she's like, what? Why? She's like, why aren't you getting pizza?
Oh, it's a little more like, hey, Viking addict, here's the heroin. What's the matter with you?
Exactly. So I was like, oh, I'm on a diet. And I felt the need to tell her. And then she goes, really? And I was like, yeah. And all the parents kind of like made some little like comments. And I was like, God damn, like that is... And it just kind of fueled the fire to like lose even more weight.
Were you athletic at all?
Oh yeah. And that's what I would say. I was quick fat. So like in basketball, I thought I was going to go pro because I was just as fast as all the skinny kids. I just smelled like, you know, macaroni and cheese when I sweat. My coach was like, you're the most delicious defender of all time. But I was, so it was kind of an anomaly that I was like a fat kid. But
and so when you came out here, you went to SC, right?
USC, yeah.
Yeah. And
you as well.
It's a medical school at SC, and then you
did acting school at SC, graduated. That's when I went to Universal. It was like,
was your dad pissed at that point? Is he like?
No, that's when we reconnected actually, because he just went. I mean, we could do a 4-part series on, you know, the family side, but just he, you know, ended up you know, losing his license for prescribing to antidepressants to his secretary.
Ooh.
And to get to him, and that was, you know,
to get to him,
for her to give to him.
Ooh.
So an ethical no.
Oh my god!
And that was it. And
usually that's not enough to lose the license.
No shit, man. I mean, he was crushing it.
But usually there's some other stuff going on, and then that's a last straw kind of thing.
No, I mean there wasn't. It was just kind of they just had a you know. The people in charge were just like, no, that's not, like, we're not fucking with someone who's doing that. And I mean, there might have been, but
it must not have been antidepressants then.
No, it was.
It must have been benzodiazepines.
What'd you call me?
Valium-like drugs, those sorts of things.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's off the rails.
Okay.
That's scheduled stuff.
It could have just. Wouldn't it be a bummer if it just found out it was like Flintstone vitamins?
No,
like, look, people are having a tough time.
I'm sitting here thinking,
these.
what? Antidepressants? That makes sense. That's what he told you.
Yeah.
No.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
But so then he worked. We reconnected because he was working, you know, at all these clinics around the country.
And now he's back. He's got his license.
Now he's back and
he's got his license back.
Yeah, and in Salem and at the VA clinic and just.
Did he have trouble getting it back?
It took like 10 years to work over a bunch of places, and some places just couldn't get over the fact that it happened, even though it was years ago.
Interesting.
But yeah, now we've got a good relationship. And
gosh, you know, there's another comedian's dad has a similar story.
Who's that?
I can't say it. I'll tell you afterwards. But he asked me not to, you know, go. But because, as he said, my dad's been through enough. You know, he suffered with the consequences. Of this kind of thing.
It's amazing though to see, and again, like I just, you know, my sister's got a tough time. letting go of some of the things with my stepmom and whatnot. And so I'm much more lenient to just be like, look, things are what they are. It is what it is. I want everybody to be happy in this stage of their lives. So I reach out to my stepmom more so. And
well, you've always been a super positive guy.
Yeah, you have to be, man. There's two. Yeah, I mean, and look, I have my down days like anybody, but it's like,
yeah. Well, I'm going to bring this will be one of them. We're working on that right now.
It's also look what we get to do. Like if you let too much of this shit get you, like there's no point in being in this business if you can't find 60% joy.
No, I agree with you. And before we start taking some calls and voicemails and email and stuff, you had said you'd gone down a rabbit hole with congenital birth defects.
Oh man,
do you have any questions about that?
Look, I'll never
get ready to throw pictures up, gentlemen.
I'll never forget the day I saw Two Girls, One Cup. That shit changed my life.
Literally.
It also changed
a lot of
the
people's
landscape.
lives. Yes.
It changed the girls who were in that video's lives. You would think.
So they're locked and loaded for pictures for you. So progeria is one of the things.
Progeria. I mean, look, I saw this.
Progeria. Progeria. It's a nasty. Geria.
I'm not into those videos.
Progeria. There it is. IA.
I'm not into the videos of like people getting hit by trains.
Ah, look at that. Oh, poor kid.
Oh God. See, like
look at the third, the middle ones on the top.
And it's they age 8 years faster, right?
It can be way worse than that. What it is, they get cardiovascular aging.
Oh my God.
So it's horrible. That's like a 9-year-old kid. And
who looks like
an 80-year-old man or 100-year-old man. It's really
no way. That's not real.
Yeah. And when you see it, when you look, I remember the first progeria case I saw, we were looking at her arteries on plain x-rays, and they were totally calcified, like completely calcified, her whole body arterial system. It's just this rapid aging process. It is
that like a 15-year-old kid right there?
They don't necessarily live that long.
They don't, huh?
Yeah.
Because they're just aging so quick.
They die of old age.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Now, do their habits develop like an old man? Like if they're like a 10-year-old kid being like, let me tell you about the depression.
No, the brain is not. The brain is they get dementias and things, but developmentally it's kid or adolescent. Yeah.
So you're a kid just watching yourself from the inside just deteriorate. Yeah,
it's very sad. Well, thank you for bringing that up. Adam. What did you say about joy?
I was trying to transition from divorce into progeria.
Was there another?
Well, look, there's
you got or congenital defect you got yourself wrapped into.
This Facebook rabbit hole I went on was just posting a bunch of weird birth. I mean, the conjoined twins thing is always a mind blower to me because I just don't see. I mean, also.
Oh, here we go.
At the head too.
Yeah, there's one there.
I mean, look, it makes me. And here's what I do. I play a little game called "Which Would I Want." You know what I'm saying? Like. Would I want to be conjoined at the head or conjoined at like the shoulders? Like, or at the sides?
Yeah.
God, at the head.
I'd happily go for,
or butt to butt. You know what I'm saying? Like
butt to butt would be great.
Now, how do you poop if you're butt to butt?
I don't know. I'm imagining there's some special arrangement at the toilet. What I understand is the thing I find sort of extraordinary about these individuals. And
these are the most famous cases. They were featured.
They were like two-headed. Is that I can't agree with anybody all the time on anything, right? And so you have two people dealing with one body. How the hell are you not just like punching each other in the face all the time?
Oh, you probably are.
You don't hear about that.
You're taking sibling rivalry to the next level.
It's just they all seem to kind of get along, which is extraordinary. There's something about
they're not, and they're not sharing the same heart and stuff, are they?
They can. Look at that one. That one's got the same everything.
Look at that one. There's two people. How dare you?
Oh my gosh! Why did you take us here?
You said you wanted, but look, these are all. Let's focus on the one of them in the pool. They're having a good time, like this.
Yeah, there they are.
It's like when you see in People magazine, like the stars are just like us. Like you want to see stuff like the conjoined twins are just like us. Like they go to the pool. Like they share the same heart. Now I think there is. Okay. Oh, well this is what I'm talking about.
Is that real?
That could be photoshopped, but I hope it's not.
I think this one's fake.
Yeah, that's not.
How dare the internet put me through an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Dude, the first ever conjoined diving Olympic duo.
Oh, there's old, what they used to call Siamese twins.
Yeah.
Which is conjoined twins. And those famous ones that were with P.T. Barnum.
Oh, the circus guy.
Got married, had kids.
No way.
Yeah.
Can you imagine growing up? I mean, dude, the amount of teasing that you have to succumb to as a kid.
Forget teasing. How do you have kids? How do you do your thing? You have to time the wives up, or everyone has to agree to everything.
Wow.
That's the couple. Those are the guys, right?
And when the baby does come out, are you like, he's, like, do you get in fights about like, he's got your eyes, he's got your?
I think we're talking about two.
He's got our hand.
No, I think they're the wives. There it is. Chang and Eng, the original Siamese twins. And I think there are 2 penises involved there.
There has to be.
Yeah, they were sort of joined at the liver or something, if I remember right.
Wow.
So, yeah, those are the kids.
Look at that.
And those are the women later. Oh my God, they look so look so happy, Adam. Look at that.
Now, why can't we follow a family like this? I'm done with the Kardashians.
They remind
can't
me of
we
you,
see
they
what the
remind me
Chang
of your
and Yangs are up
family.
to?
They're all so happy. You think of you the work you could do with that family to keep them all happy. You're an expert at this. So, all right, I've had enough of this.
Okay.
I'm.
Is there anything else? I mean, I'm trying to think of. I mean, the skin condition ones are the crazy. But then there's those ones where like the guy with the.
Hold on, let's get some skin stuff.
Well, how about the tree guy? Have you ever seen the tree guy?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a wart. It's actually it's a virus that overgrows. The tree.
Can we go to the tree man or whatever?
Or is it tree skin? Yeah, tree skin man.
Oof. Yeah. This guy.
There it is.
I mean, that's just not even like that's just some weird ass. I mean, this makes me question if there's a God, because like, how do you let that get to that?
Yeah.
You can't put the kibosh on that with some sort of cream like 2 weeks in.
Yeah, I think there's a treatment, but I don't know how they deal with that.
Yeah. Also, I don't know what the Bangladeshi medical system is.
After 1 week of what? The man treatment cured after 16 operations. I think it says 16 operations. Yeah. So good times.
What do we know? What type of tree?
It's not a tree.
Pine,
it's
oak.
a virus.
Okay. You know what? Look, I'm just trying to ask the hard-hitting questions.
Wow.
And also, conversation starter. If I meet
where
him,
your brain goes. I can't wait to see.
Yeah, if I run into him in public, I want to be able to. Dude, the amount of like, have you ever had an acquaintance catch up?
What?
An acquaintance catch up.
What does that mean?
Oxymoron, for sure. Like somebody that you run into that you're like, oh, we have nothing in common. I don't even know your last name, but here we are catching up because the person is driving real hard with the like, hey. So
is it somebody you don't really remember?
Oh, it's somebody I know of.
Somebody you know,
but just literally like we've never texted. And this person, I ran into them, I won't say their name, about 3 weeks ago. And they were so fired up to see me. And so I, reciprocated and was like,
But then
hey.
he likes your comedy and stuff. He's a fan.
But no, we've like, I think done shows together way back in the day. But when we started like 12 years ago, and I go, he goes, how you doing? And he's like, how you been? And I was like, oh, and I tried to give the standard, just keep it moving. Like I was like, oh, just grinding, putting one foot in front of the other, waking up with the sun, trying to go to bed with the moon, just sounding like a Phil Collins song at every corner. And then I was like, all right, I've kept it brief. Now hopefully that's the end of it. And then I go, do my parts. I go, and dude, how have you been? And he pauses and looks down and goes, how have I been? And I was like, oh, shit. And then he launches into this 5-minute story. He goes, I guess you haven't seen me since the accident. And I was like, wow, no. What happened? And he's like, last summer, a jet ski ripped the tops of 3 of my fingers off. It was a jet ski was attached to a rope, and it got tied around my fingers and ripped it off. They had to take skin from my neck, graft it back onto my fingers. I just got feeling back a couple weeks ago, but I can't complain. And I was like, no, I actually think you can fucking complain. That is the time to give a Yelp review to the world.
Yeah.
And so do you ever like when somebody like gives you some information like that, do you ever just like, try to find a way to be positive about it for them? Or do you go inside yourself and go, oh, now I feel inadequate about what I'm bringing to the catch-up and I'm searching for things to find.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, yeah, man,
I go immediately there. And so
I'm blinking too much lately.
Yeah,
so
I go to that.
Thing.
So I go immediately into supportive mode.
Yeah.
Like that's the best I can do. It's just kind of.
You're like, dude, fingers are overrated. So
no,
like,
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't do that. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to. That is a dead end street.
Yeah. You could talk to it.
Did I see? I think are you doing a bunch of acting now? Like right now?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I saw you in something that I really liked.
Jennifer Lopez movie. No.
Was that it? I think it was a TV show. I was like
American Vandal.
Maybe I was just
Arrested
excited.
Curb.
Curb. I guess it was Curb.
Yeah.
You were driving a car.
Yeah, it was Uber driver.
Yeah. That's right. And I was like, oh, yeah, fantastic. How exciting.
My favorite show of all time.
I thought how great for you.
Outer Body. So one of those things that after I auditioned for it twice, I was like, even if I don't get this experience of improvising with Larry, making him laugh was unreal. And then I got out of it, and that 2 seconds later, I'm like, no, fuck that. I want this so bad. And it was just the greatest.
Oh, I love it. That's good for you.
Thanks,
congratulations. Man. Time to take a quick break to tell you about our friends at Daily Harvest. Breakfast can be a hectic time, and it can be tough to focus on nutrition. Most people tend to overdo the carbohydrates in the morning, but no more. With Daily Harvest, in less than 5 minutes, you get real organic fruits and vegetables, and it's delivered in carefully sourced, chef-crafted smoothies, also savory bowls. Everything stays fresh in your freezer. So if you wanted to get fruits and vegetables, but worry about the expense or worry that the fruits and vegetables are going to go bad, No more. With Daily Harvest, it's in a pre-made frozen product that you just serve up. It just takes seconds to prepare. Add milk or water. You heat up a Harvest bowl, and that's it. Or make a smoothie. The ingredients are carefully sourced for maximum nutrition. So go to daily-harvest.com. Enter promo code Dr. Drew. Again, when you do so, you'll get 3 cups for free. I don't know how we do this, but you'll be really impressed with these cups. They are awesome. That is with your first box. It's promo code Dr. Drew for 3 free Daily Harvest cups at daily-harvest.com. Again, it is daily-harvest.com. And now back to our show. All right, let's get a couple of, here we go, some questions. If any of you are still watching this.
Oh, for sure. This is a great episode. This is going to be a top rated one.
I'm a 26-year-old adult male. When I was younger, around 17, I was having anal sex with a female and tore the thingy attached to my foreskin to the head of my peener. God, we have, we have the most sort of
I am so not woke. Is peener what we're calling it now?
This guy is. Is this a common injury for males, and is something I should have sought medical attention for? P.S. Piss on me, beat me, hoe a man out.
The mommies.
Yeah, it's the mommies.
Tight,
it's the mommies. So very common injury. It's called a frenulum. It sort of tacks down the foreskin a little bit, and it's one of the ways that guys end up with something called phimosis. It's one of the reasons, the most common reasons for adult circumcision. Back to our adult circumcision story.
Phimosis, not to be confused with photosynthesis.
No, phimosis is a progressive narrowing of the foreskin so the head of the penis can't come out. And it happens very commonly. It's why you want to do this to your kids when they're young and they're before they really even are aware it's going on.
Are there any pros to anal sex? Like, it is on, like, if I have a list of things that my wife and I are going to do, like, find a swinging conjoined twin couple is going to be before anal sex.
I get
what I'm saying?
I get that.
Like, that just seems so. And how many injuries are available for you in the anal sex department?
On both sides, both partners, both.
So he injured the top of
the. Maybe we should go back to the pictures. Look up foreskin frenulum on pictures.
Coming this fall to Fox.
Frenulum, Frenu, foreskin frenulum, and you'll see.
Didn't they just play Coachella this weekend?
N-U-L-U-M. L-U-M now. There you go. The frenulum of the prepuce. There it is. Okay.
Oh.
No. There's a better picture that sort of that one. Now that's actually one that's gotten tacked down. But
look at it broke.
No, it's just that's actually a circumcision gone bad. And it can be corrected, but
so he just went too hard and
tore that.
Yeah.
And what happens is that can happen. That picture is what can happen progressively because it keeps tearing and keeps coming apart. It's hard, and it can actually narrow the foreskin. It can cause this problem, and it's a misery thing, and it's very common.
Well, hope you feel better, dude.
Here's I have an unusual fetish. I'm into smelling girls' butts. This is for you, Adam.
Dad.
Really into it. I've had this fetish for many years. It has expanded to a desire to smell their armpits and breath.
Jesus.
Lately, I've been getting up. I watch videos of girls farting and pooping. I hate that I have this fetish. I'm totally ashamed of myself.
Dude, before he even checks Instagram or Twitter or like what the weather's going to be like, check the 10-day forecast, then look into some fart follies.
What I don't understand is how can he be watching videos and smelling anything? Why does that help him? Why does that do anything for him?
Maybe he likes to see it and then.
So he's more like into the scat.
Damn, smell it. I mean, look, that's some like elementary school shit where you like to smell farts.
That is something. There's like I don't know. I would need to know the context for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not thinking good things. Let's just say.
What part of your brain and where do you develop the the taste for that? Yeah, like that. Is that passed down from generations?
No.
Is your grandpa like, boy, I'm telling you, when you hit 25, like the farts get better, the butts get bigger.
Nothing like that.
I don't know whose grandpa that is, but
right. You're sort of scaring me.
Is it an acquired taste? Or
I don't think it's a genetic thing. I think it's an acquired thing. I think it's sort of probably trauma related, something related, some traumatizing.
It's always trauma related when it's a weird fetish, right?
Right. When it gets wired in some way, you're like, why? Where did that get into my brain? Well, some sort of trauma.
Also, the internet doesn't help. Like the fact that these kids have at their disposal, I can Google, fart, poops, breath video, whatever it is. I don't know what the key search words are, but whatever you're typing in, it's coming up for you.
Yeah.
I was just telling my nephew this the other day. He's 15, and I go, dude, the fact that you're never gonna know the anxiety that comes with calling a girl you have a crush on and hearing her dad pick up.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Because now, like, when he's Snapchatting all the time with these girls, and I'm like, oh, you never, like, I remember calling, and my voice kind of dropped early, so at 12, I'd be like, is Michelle home? And he's like, who is this? And he's like, stop calling. He's like, what? Like, are you in high school? And I'm like, man, I'm fucking 12. I just want to touch a boob outside the shirt. Like, cut me some slack, But, like, there's a certain level of, I just evolving too quick without having to go through, like, the necessary steps of, like, having a crush and flirting.
You're absolutely, it's interesting to bring that up. I think because of that, because they don't go through those normal developmental milestones anymore.
Yeah.
That's why we're seeing a lot more stalking behaviors in the young males. A lot more. Like much more serious than what you were engaged in.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's what they do is they don't know how to navigate a relationship. They haven't had usual milestones. They don't pick up on cues and things. So they'll fall in love with some girl. She's not into it. Then they'll settle for a friend. And then 3 years later, they'll be like, "Well, I've been your friend for the last 3 years. I've been moving your furniture when you asked me to, and cleaning your carpet. Now it's time.
Yeah.
Now it's time. Let's go. I put my time."
And all the messages and other ways that you can show that, like, look, I'm being cool, but still keeping some contact.
Yeah. No. They ladies, those young males that are hanging around you as the guy, the sweet, he's so nice, he does anything. That dude is full on stalking you.
Because it's good to feel some real rejection. Like I remember when I would,
yes, in flesh, in real life.
Yeah, and at that age too. I mean, like, because you can bounce back because you just, you fist some Pop-Tarts.
This is you and the fisting again. This is a great story.
Okay,
my name is Jay. I have a question, never been answered. I broke my jaw playing football. A few days later, the surgery, I had an Advil early in the day. I was trying not to do heavy painkillers. Then later, I took hydrocodone. 20 to 30 minutes after taking the hydrocodone, I started crying uncontrollably. It's very weird because I was not sad or feeling emotional. I had coworkers freaking out around me, asking me what's wrong. But while I was crying heavily, I was saying, I don't know what's wrong. It's just coming out. Now I had my medication cut in half, but I didn't take it after that. Is this common? It is not common. Definitely seen it. Definitely seen it many times. I would have patients. I had a patient show up in the office crying uncontrollably.
Yeah, because they found out Seventh Heaven was canceled.
After a Vicodin or a hydrocodone, they took it.
What about it?
It shows you. It's why you know that addiction is genetic, right? Some people take hydrocodone and they cry uncontrollably. I take hydrocodone. I don't like it. It makes me feel shitty.
Yeah. Makes me feel nauseous.
My addict patients take hydrocodone. They feel the best they've ever felt in their life.
Oh,
That's
man.
a different biological response, right?
Where does the crying come into play? Like
it just triggers off some system that.
Yeah. So don't take it, right? That's
yeah. But it's so distressing because it's imagine you were just all of a sudden you start crying uncontrollably for no reason, and you weren't even sad, and you weren't thinking of anything sad.
That happened to me on mushrooms once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The first time I did mushrooms, it was sophomore year of college, and I went to a Halloween party at the fraternity I was in, and I was dancing with a girl. And she was working real hard, like to try to make me, come to completion on the dance floor. She was working hard, like she said to her friends, like, tonight I'm gonna make a guy come in his pants. Like that's what she was trying to do. And
sure you weren't just on mushrooms? And it seemed like
for sure. I was actually grinding on a telephone pole outside.
Right, I was saying on a tree stump somewhere.
Yeah. No, she was there. It was real, and all of a sudden I feel it start to happen, and I didn't know the hallucination elements of being on mushrooms yet. Uh-oh. So I'm just like, oh, this is happening and this is crazy. And she like was looking at me like it was happening. And then all of a sudden she just walks away and I feel down there because now I'm super self-conscious because I'm like, all right, now I got cummy pants in front of all these strangers. And I start feeling around completely dry. Then I start freaking out.
So you had a dry orgasm.
I'm like, I thought I came and I didn't. Now what? Like now I'm questioning everything. So I run upstairs and I'm wearing this weird like Slim Jim wig and like a vest, like a sleeveless vest. It was Halloween. I don't know what costume I was trying to, pose as.
Raggedy Andy?
Yeah. yeah, from the 80s. And so I run upstairs and I see a couple good buddies of mine and I immediately start crying. And I was just like, I think the freak out from that and then seeing some familiar faces kind of put me at ease. And they were like, what happened? And I was like, and I started just bawling. I was like, I thought I just came and I didn't. And one of the basketball players is here and he high-fived me. And I think we might be friends. I don't know. And like these conjoined twins keep talking to me. There's a lot going on. But I literally was crying and
But you having emotion.
And they were laughing.
But imagine crying and not having emotion.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, you're just crying.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you're not sad.
That's a waste of tears.
Crying. Yeah. You were upset. By the way, you probably had retrograde ejaculation.
Oh, really?
The mushrooms made you shoot up into your bladder.
I came into my pee? Wait, what?
Into your bladder.
How does that work? So then...
It's called, the valve doesn't.
So I did...
You probably had an orgasm. You actually ejaculated, but it went up into the bladder.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was intense.
Ghost load.
Is that the medical term?
Dr. Drew, we actually have a question that I think is about that specifically.
Oh,
Great.
a voice message. Let's do it. How timely.
Hi, Dr. Drew and guest. This is Zach from California. I'm calling to ask about something I've been doing for years. I heard a podcast a long time ago from David Cho about when he orgasms, he actually doesn't actually ejaculate, and he holds it all in by a little muscle between the balls on his asshole. I decided to try it out, and it turns out it works.
Yeah.
I've told people about this, and they've told me that the fluid actually will go into my bladder and apparently make me die one day. I don't experience any issues when I actually do ejaculate. It's just more output, and girls seem to like it. So I don't really know. Hopefully you and your guests can answer this. Thank you very much.
Well,
yeah.
I have a policy. Let me just state my policy, right?
Please.
When things want to come out of your body, you let them come out.
Yeah.
Sneeze, ejaculate, whatever. Generally speaking, healthier thing. He is causing retrograde ejaculation essentially by pushing on the valve. He reaches under his, your people call it the taint, but it's the perineum. And then strangely what occurs is a mitzvah. It is. Also.
It truly is.
But anyway, you
that's the story of Passover. A lot of people don't know that.
It's the chapter that they sometimes leave out of the family version. But
yeah, there's no symbolic food for that at the table.
Well, the salt water, but anyway, but be that as it may, it is you may accidentally trigger something where the retrograde ejaculation starts happening every time.
Yeah.
And it's actually a very difficult thing to treat if it becomes sort of a regular thing. It's not easy. So when it comes time for fertility, it can actually be kind of an issue. And it's you're not going to die from it. It doesn't, the semen doesn't hurt you. It comes out in the pee later.
Is there a certain amount of times for fertility purposes that you shouldn't be, like, leading up to it? Like, I know that there's a schedule for the gals that's more conducive for making a life.
For guys, you're pretty much always there. There are ways to make it better.
If you hold out for a little bit.
Hold out for a little bit.
Make it stronger,
avoid
right?
jacuzzis. Let them hang.
That's a real thing, huh?
Yeah, they will tell you that kind of thing.
Now, what about hot tubs? I feel like hot tubs are the poor man's jacuzzi.
Yeah, same. That's the idea.
Do you know there was a place called Tubbs in Seattle where I grew up, and I used to drive by it, and I thought it was like a sandwich place. No, it turns out it's a place that you could rent hot tubs by the hour and fucking them.
What?
Yeah. Did not know that until
weird.
End of high school and driving by. I'm like with my buddy and his dad, and I was like, "You guys hungry?" I was like, "We go to Tubbs," and the dad just goes, "The fuck are you talking about?" I was like, "You guys don't want to go to Tubbs? I'm starving." He's like, "For fucking weird cum water? Like what for what?" And I was like, "For sandwiches. God, why are you being weird?" He's like, "Do you know what Tubbs is?"
Oh.
It's like people pay to go. Isn't that crazy?
Yes, that is beyond crazy. That is not something that would survive down here.
No, probably in Germany.
Yeah,
because they're sexually on par.
Corolla and I remember used to always play Germany or Florida.
Yeah,
we had to resurrect Germany or Florida too.
If
anybody has any Germany or Florida questions, so anything weird, macabre, out of this world sort of happen of a criminal nature, typically. Tell the story to us on the voice message to 818-253-1693, and we will determine, me and the guest, Germany or Florida.
I literally just came back from Miami today. And man, you get why all the crazy shit happens. Like when I brought up to them, I was like, "Do you remember when it was in Miami when the guy ate the guy's face on bath salts?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Do you remember when that happened?" And they were all like it was a half yeah. And I was like, "Do you realize how normal crazy shit is to you guys? Like somebody ate a face, and I brought that up, and you guys were like, yeah, I mean sometimes you eat a face. Chipotle wasn't open, he was fucking hungry, but they really do just. It's got to be something in the booze, staying up late night, right?
Something.
What contributes to a culture where everyone is just?
I think it is that late night culture, right? It's very clubby, South Beach stuff.
Germany's got that too.
Was the club at South Beach?
No, Miami. Miami Improv. Yeah.
Hey, we have to take a quick break from our program. I want to tell you about our sponsor. Stitch Fix is an online personal styling service that gives you clothing, shoes, and accessories directly to you. You fill out a style profile. You'll be paired with an expert personal stylist who curates a box of hand-picked items especially for you. I mean, how exciting is it to get a box of clothing you've always wanted that somebody personally styles for you? It's too much. You try them on, you pay only for what you love, return the rest, shipping, exchanges, returns, always free. No subscription. Sign up for automatic shipments or get new pieces just when you need them. The Stitch Fix styling fee is only $20, and that's applied towards anything you keep from your box. Discover new styles, find unique pieces with Stitch Fix. Now get started today at Stitch Fix, that's STITCHFIX, stitchfix.com/DRDRAW, and you'll get an extra 25% off when you keep all the items in your box. That's stitchfix.com/Dr. Drew for a quarter off, for 25% off, stitchfix.com/Dr. Drew. And I want to tell you about our friends from Upstart. Now, most of us find out the hard way. Getting into debt is easy. Getting out is hard, especially if your FICO score is not great. The sky-high interest rates, it makes it hard. Upstart.com, it's a revolutionary lending platform that offers smarter interest rates to help you pay off high-interest credit card debt. Upstart goes beyond the traditional FICO score when assessing your credit worthiness. They actually reward you based on your education and your job history. Very smart. Upstart believes you're more than just your credit score. They make it fast, simple, easy to check your rate in just a few minutes without affecting your credit score. And the best part, once your loan is approved, most people get those funds the very next business day. It's the next day. Over 200,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards, student loans, fund a wedding, make a large purchase, free yourself from the burden of high interest card debt, consolidate everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. See why Upstart is ranked #1 in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/Dr. Drew to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes and it will not affect your credit. That is Upstart, UPSTART, upstart.com/DRDREW. Hurry, upstart.com/Dr. Drew. Now, let's get back to our show. Next question, voice message.
Hi, Dr. Drew. Big fan. I have a question. So I am 25 now, and I have been on the pill since I was 16. The reason I went on so young was because at the time I was having insufferable cramps.
Painful periods, yes.
To the point where I would black out when I was, 15, 16. Birth control totally changed that. It alleviated that intense cramping and a lot of other symptoms around that time of the month. But the deal is now I feel like the pill is majorly messing with my libido.
Oh, yes.
Every time I'm on it, I'm not horny.
Yes.
I'm not into crushes or anything. I'm just neutral.
Yeah. Okay, so this is because of progesterone, and so many of the pills today are these very powerful progesterone agents, and almost no or sometimes no estrogen. And the way to deal with, talk to your doctor about this. The problem is there's a guy named Andrew Goldstein that does a lot of research on this, and it has something to do with the receptor for your sex hormones, progesterone and estrogen. And he has isolated the certain structural differences in the women that get this problem. It's very common. The doctors never describe it to the women. And I'm telling you, it can permanently screw with your libido. That's the really problematic part. So you want to talk to your doctor about getting down on the progesterone, maybe up on some estrogen, or maybe get it off the pill altogether. You may go back to painful periods again, and there may be other ways to deal with that. But again, it's the progesterone predominant pill that does this, and no one ever tells women about this.
They don't,
crazy. It can cause depression. It can cause serious libido problems, and sometimes the libido stuff is permanent. So it's worth getting off it if you can, or switching to something that has more estrogen.
Having cramps that lead to a blackout just seems like the worst thing of all time.
Yeah,
we don't have any sort of
as a male
correlation for that.
Nothing. Yeah, but though when you get older, you'll get yours. As we always say in medicine, you don't want a female's genital tract before the age of 40. You don't want a man's after 50.
Yeah, touche.
Yeah, good times. Next question.
Big fan of the show, but I have a weird problem where maybe 4 days a week.
First of all, hold on a second.
Stop. Yeah,
Stop.
He said, but I have a weird problem. Can't you be a fan of the show and still have a problem?
Yeah,
Did you hear that?
Yeah,
he was
you
like,
can.
Big fan, but...
And there's something about this guy where I just totally love him. I love this guy.
I love his voice.
Let's run back a little bit.
He sounds like Spicoli.
Big fan. Yeah. Something about him. All right.
Big fan of the show, But I have a weird problem where
7-Eleven's closed.
Maybe 4 days a week, I end up throwing up in the morning and it's all spit. I don't know. It seems like maybe my nasal cavity is draining into my throat, but it's weird. It happens all the time. And I would like to have Dr. Drew maybe give me a little advice on it.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. We don't know how old he is. I'm going to guess he's older than he sounds, just by the nature of the problem.
I'm going to say mid-20s.
Yeah, that's what I'd say too, but he may be a little older than that. There's a couple things. Reflux, right? Gastroesophageal reflux. So a lot of the sort of stomach acid can kind of accumulate up in here when you're lying down at night. But there's also something called achalasia and pseudoachalasia.
What's that?
Achalasia of the cardia, which is a problem with again, it's just another kind of reflux essentially, but where the base of the esophagus doesn't relax.
Ooh.
And that sort of very, very typically is the throwing up of saliva. So it made me think about achalasia as a possibility. You need to see a gastroenterologist and see if you can get this taken care of. It's not that uncommon. Yeah,
puking is the worst.
You don't like vomiting?
I mean, like when I've had to feel better.
Also,
like,
it's something called a Zinker's diverticulum, which can be up and accumulate shit out there. But anyway.
Yeah.
You don't like vomit. Only a few times in your life you vomited?
No. I mean, more than that for sure. But like, I
went
mean,
to sea for God's sake.
Yeah. There's also, I mean, look, there's certain videos that I've seen where I'm just like, that is, stirring the pot, I mean, that tree guy thing.
Oh, I see.
If I were to watch,
so we just went through. You just put us through. Yes,
for sure. But I mean, but it's. I mean, I can look at a picture. But if it were like a weird porn where like he walked in and he was like the pizza guy, but then he had tree hands. Like, I was like, dude, this doesn't add up. It's also not realistic because Domino's would never hire that guy.
Does this go on in your head all the time?
For sure. Okay. It's the story's got to make sense before I can get hard.
Let's get another question. I like these questions.
Hey, Doc, this is Bennett from Ohio here. So recently I've been hitting these online dating sites, and I'm generally interested in these girls, but then as soon as I get, we'll have conversation, but as soon as I'm done and they agree to meet up with me, I lose all interest. I was wondering, what the fuck's going on there?
So what do you think?
Am I messed up in the head? What can I do?
Yeah, what do you think that is, Adam? It reminds me of a phrase. A Woody Allen phrase.
He said, well, no, so he's on all these dating sites.
And then when he finally found someone that'll meet up with him, he loses interest in them.
Oh, boy. That's, what's the saying? You want what you...
Never want to be a member of a club that would have me as a member.
Wow.
That's actually a famous... Woody Allen brought it up in Annie Hall, but it's actually a... who'd that come from? Somebody look that up for me. Would never want to be a member... I think it's Groucho Marx, originally. Never want to be a member of a club that would have me as a member.
Yeah,
so it's that kind of thing. Oh, you're going to show me a frenulum again? Thanks. I know it's Groucho Marx. It is. Never want to be part of a club. Yeah, it's Groucho.
It also reminds me of a famous music quote. I get knocked down, but I get up again. But then when I meet up with the person that I wanted to meet up with, I just stay down because they turned out to be not as cool as I thought they were.
Chumbawamba.
By the way, Chumbawamba, I don't think has been said by you ever, has it?
Yes, because we had Chumbawamba in the studio.
When?
And that was their song.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. And
that was a Chumbawamba alley-oop.
Yeah, and they were
awesome.
No.
Oh, bummer. But also, yep.
They're anarchists.
Oh no.
And Adam literally went. So he goes, "What? How do you decide what you're doing? You get up and go to work. Whatever you want to do." And he goes, "How about the air traffic control? Who's doing that? Whoever wants to do it that day." And I'm like, "Oh, you people are just assholes."
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, this is total.
Can we do a part 2 podcast of just where we talk shit about Wamba? Not even give him the full chumba.
Just call them Wamba and
more Chumbawamba stories. Oh, dude.
My God.
Yeah, that. Look, I think. There's so much that goes into the chase of trying to meet somebody, right? And
but dude, listen, it's you're right, and that's what creates some arousal. Some guys are more into that than others, but ultimately, it's fear of intimacy, fear of closeness.
Oh, for sure.
If you actually have an opportunity to be with somebody, and then you get, I'm out because they're into me. Okay.
I would love to know how far into these meetups he's getting before he's pulling the plug. Like, is he getting there, seeing them, and then it's probably starting to develop some camaraderie and some rapport, and then going like, oh no, and then he's got to bounce.
Right. I think you're absolutely
because unless he's just showing up. Because look, it's also fair if he shows up and he's just like, you don't look like your picture. I'm getting a call. I got to go.
Yeah.
Because I know girls do that. Oh, I've heard from girlfriends. Yeah, they're just like, they have that that friend that's always on on the ready to give them a call.
Yeah.
Like there's like
I see. Yes.
They call.
Yeah, they have a little code.
It's like 20 minutes in to call me.
Yes.
And then if it's going okay, I won't pick it up. But if it isn't, then I'll pick it up and go, oh my God.
I think that's brilliant. It
is brilliant. Yeah. Dudes don't have, we're not that forward thinking.
Did you ever use dating apps?
No, I've never been, I signed up for JDate, I remember, and matched a few times and then was just like, can't do, it's so old school, but I just, meeting people organically has always been the best for me. And I prefer, and I'm not against it at all or above it, because I think I know people that have happily married. I mean, it's to cut out all that bullshit. Also in our world, it's just, I meet enough people that way. But like, there was a part of me at one time that was like, oh, maybe like, that'd be cool. I mean, I did the, Tinder thing for a minute when it came out. A kid from my fraternity actually helped make that, him and a couple of kids.
Yeah. What fraternity?
AE Pi, or as they called us, AE High, because there was so much
pop brownie.
Yeah.
So is there one last question?
I smoked out of a menorah.
Oh, is that? I didn't know they had
made a bong out of a shofar.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Look it up. No, so there we go. Go ahead. We're ready.
Dr. Drew, Kevin from Boston.
Hi, Kevin.
Big fan of the podcast. Big question on my mind. Sometimes during sex, not masturbation, after I come, my muscles in my hands and my lips tighten up and stiffen, where my resting hands are fingers together, pointed out, stiff, and my lips are like puckered. It'll die out after like 5-10 minutes. I asked my doctor; he had no idea.
Okay, that
so he comes and he's going.
Yeah.
Like Woody. Oh, goodness.
Looks a little more Bill Cosby.
Yeah. Was it good for you? You're still asleep.
So, two things.
Yeah.
One is hyperventilation. So you might be watch your breathing. You don't have to hyperventilate much to get cramps in the muscles in the hands.
Isn't it crazy that even just breathing techniques, like you talk about operatic singers or Broadway stars, but even for lovemaking, like
normal dude having sex,
you need to have some sort of a pattern and rhythm going.
Breath control.
Yeah, breath control.
Because if you breathe one more time per minute than you need, you're really unloading a lot of CO2.
Yeah.
And it can lead to things like numbness and tingling around your hands, and cramps in your mouth, and cramps in your hands. Also, sometimes some people are prone to muscle spasm. That's just them.
Sure.
That's just certain people are very athletic, often are that way, and just cramping the muscle precipitates a sustained cramp. So also try to relax.
What positions are they dabbling in that maybe could be causing some of this muscle strain? Maybe just go back to the basic missionary doggy.
Are we looking at the liabilities of anal sex again here? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, it sounds like we might be.
Adam, we've said it all.
We have. This is so fun. I could talk to you forever.
What else do you want to talk about? I got a few more minutes.
Okay. Well, geez, I don't know. Let's talk about my album coming out.
Let's do it.
It's called Read the Room, and it is available to buy April 26th, where albums are sold. And pre-order right now, as I know this will probably come out before the 26th, maybe.
And has it got a theme to it, or is it just your favorite?
No, I mean it's look, I've you get to a point where you're like, I haven't done an hour special yet, and I've got the material for it, but
why not? You'd be great for an hour.
Yeah, I mean, look, I thought about trying to self-fund it like people have done.
Adam went out.
I was even talking to those guys about them helping me do it and doing it under the Corolla banner, which I think would be cool. But you need content out there, and I've been putting up all these like clips from a couple sets that I had friends shoot on with high quality stuff, and those have been getting hundreds of thousands of views on my Instagram. And you need content. There's too many ways to absorb stuff now, and people, having the album be on Sirius a bunch and Spotify and all that is Nate Bargatze was telling me how much more attention he got from those platforms than he did even from Netflix views. But you just got to have stuff out there, and I been doing this hour for the last year and change, and writing all the time, so it's not like I was gonna have a shortage of new material. So, but it's great, and I do a lot of crowd work in my hour. I'll usually do about an hour 15, hour 20, and there's some really fun crowd work moments in this.
Great.
So it's great, and did the Punchline in San Fran. So pre-order that. Read the Room.
Other than acting and comedy, what else are you into?
Oh man,
and weird congenital defects.
Weird congenital defects. I mean, speaking of congenital defects, my podcast partner Brad.
You've always struck me as Brad. Let's get on with him. Let's get on with that.
So Brad and I, we got About Last Night. We got to get you back on. I mean, I know you're busy as shit, but About Last Night podcast. Get that on iTunes.
But I also, this is not even a compliment. I just know this about you. You're a very super smart guy. So I'm imagining that you're interested in all kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm writing I have a problem where I'm just now getting better at trying to get a little more rest and seeing how necessary that is for, I do a lot of voiceover and, by the way, She-Ra season 2 drops on Netflix.
Great.
I'm the voice. She-Ra's talking horse sidekick, Swiftwind.
Nice.
Yeah, I know you're a big She-Ra guy.
A gas problem?
What's that?
Swiftwind's got a gas problem.
Yeah. Swiftwind is into smelling farts and butts. So
back to that.
But it.
But I want to see you act more. When you were on Curb Your Enthusiasm, you were like,
I love you. I mean, I did this indie comedy with Thomas Lennon that'll come out on Netflix in June, and have a bunch of shows that I'm trying to make.
I feel like you should be on Barry, and you should be on the
Me
Kaminsky.
Too, man.
What's the Kaminsky effect? What do they call that?
Yes.
Those are things I expect to see you in those.
You are
iconic.
You're
stuff.
quite the mensch. You sound like my mom. My mom literally can't watch certain shows. She'll literally send me a text, me like, "This is coming out. You should find a way to get in touch with Spielberg." She even said she's like, "You could have been Joey on Friends." I'm like, "Mom, that show came out in '94. I was 12." She's like, "Which would have made it that much more incredible."
Very interesting too.
But there's so many. Yeah, acting is my first love, and stand up and acting are so synonymous. But you just have to keep pounding the pavement, and the resilience that you have to have that I'm just even having to check myself on.
Adam, there's always Wolverine. You always go back to Universal.
I can always go back. Can you imagine though? There is a documentary. If in another 20 years things haven't popped the way I want to, I should just go back there and have a documentary film crew film the journey of me quitting the business, going back, and then hopefully the way that the stars should align in Hollywood, that once you've given up, then hopefully you get that shot to get back. Maybe Hugh Jackman cast me to play his son in the old Wolverine movie, and he's like, "We got to get somebody that." By the way, that's not Hugh Jackman at all. I don't know who that was.
Wolverine Creed.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. What's the title there?
I don't know, but
yeah, adamantium.
Oh,
right.
Oh,
which by the way, I knew about 4 days into working there that was what his claws were made of. Because again, I didn't know shit. Kids would literally be like, "What's Wolverine's favorite food?" And I was like, "Potato salad. Fuck off. It doesn't matter," because I just, I like the movies, but I don't know the extra.
You figured it out.
The extra info.
You're an improv guy.
You got to be.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Good to see you. We're going to have to wrap
You're
this
an improv guy, dead silence.
No, I know you are.
Yeah.
The plugs again. Read the Room, April 26th and beyond.
Comes out,
available. Where can they get it?
I post links on my Instagram and Twitter all the time.
Instagram is?
Go to Adam Ray Comedy. AdamRayComedy.com for my tour dates.
R-A-Y.
Yeah.
And About Last Night.
Yeah.
Check that out.
You're the man.
Good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me, Doc.
All right. And we'll see you all next time. All conversations and information exchanged during participation of the Dr. Drew After Dark podcast or interaction on the drdrew.com website is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not confuse this with treatment or physician medical advice or direction per se. You must always follow your medical professional's advice and direction. Nothing on these podcasts or posted on this site supplements or supersedes the relationship and direction of your medical caretakers. Please understand, I am not playing the role of physician in this environment per se. I'm educating. I am a licensed physician with specialty boards in American Board of Internal Medicine and American Board of Addiction Medicine.